Hey, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Lewis Hatchett, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about how you can become more disciplined. So it sounds like a big topic, but it's something that has definitely been popular in questioning people what they struggle with the most and areas they would like to improve. So this is what this episode is going to be about. And if you want to learn about how you can be more disciplined, maybe what's getting in your way, then this is going to be an episode for you. So without any more hesitation, let's get straight into it. So if there's anything that I've learned about self-discipline, is the fact that it comes in bursts or maybe even comes in waves. And you may find yourself being really disciplined at one moment and then completely non-disciplined at another. You're just letting everything go. You find you're slacking, your habits have just gone out the window, and you're just a little bit disappointed in yourself because you have kind of let yourself down. And that's what we end up doing when we're not self-disciplined. We end up self-loathing ourselves. We really are harsh on ourselves because I'm not being self-disciplined. I'm not doing the things that I said I would do, and there is a discrepancy, there is a gap between the person that we had hoped to be, this ideal version of ourselves, and then the person that we actually are right now. And what we're going to cover here is hopefully what we can fill in that gap that's going to take you from where you currently are, whether it's lacking discipline or you want to add more discipline into your life, to then this ideal self of yours, which is disciplined and you're strategic and you're committed to what you're doing. So like I said, it's going to come in waves and in bursts. So the first thing would be to, if you do find yourself in a little bit of a disciplined wave, ride that wave as long as you can. But the goal is to not have these huge peaks and troughs, to not have some moment of like incredible discipline and then nothing at all. Consistency in your discipline is going to be the key to unlocking the outcomes that discipline is going to achieve you, is going to create for you, and you're going to achieve. So it requires genuine active effort. So effort on your behalf of finding a way in which you can bring everything together and be consistent in your discipline. So it's important that when you're trying to be disciplined, you're not shooting for the stars, like you're not getting there too high. You're not trying to be the most disciplined person you can, or like a Jocko Willink of the world. You don't necessarily have to start there. You just want to start small. And one thing that I use as the most active and tangible way of bringing out discipline in my life is physical activity, is my training. Literally consistent training of your physical self will form that discipline. Every day showing up, doing something that is putting in effort for your body is going to improve your mental discipline. The physical practice may be a little bit easier, like it may be physically the thing that you want to do. As men, for example, we like having this feeling of putting in active effort in our bodies, and being able to just consistently do that eventually builds a mechanism that you can transfer into your daily life, into other areas of your life where you want to be disciplined. One example I'd give is I do a lot of long distance running at the moment, and I find that actually in itself is a really tough practice. People like David Goggins, right? Well, these guys who are like ultra disciplined, they will talk about their ultra marathons that are running these ultra distances as the going to the mental gym and the consistent practice of going to this mental gym. But one thing that I've done recently is I'm not going on 100-mile races right now. I'm doing anywhere between 10 to 30 kilometers. But if I'm doing, say, like a 10-kilometer run, I usually get to the end of it and start to throw in a couple of curveballs that would make me want to stop, but choosing the option not to. So one thing I do is I go past my start point or my end point and go for like another lap, or I do a lap of an area that I know that I could easily take another route to go home. And one thing that is like really annoying for you is when you're going past your end point, or for me, I'm going past my front door, and it's you're sitting there going, I want to stop, but I'm choosing not to. I'm not done yet. And I think that's a phrase that I will say, I'm not done yet, and keep going until I am telling myself I am done. And that little mental challenge is something that really motivates me. And I find if I overcome that little mental challenge, that I can congratulate myself. I can say, okay, I'm being disciplined in this moment. I've actually achieved some form of discipline. And that's what you want to do. You want to do it once. You want to make sure that you congratulated yourself on being disciplined, and then you go again, and you're not done yet. You just keep going. The other one for me is throwing in like a real finisher challenge. So at the end of a long run, I know there's almost a path diverting, and goes along with the famous quote of two paths diverge, and I chose the one less traveled. And that for me is a hill. It's this kilometer, maybe 2 kilometer climb. It's a pretty tough hill. I'm not going to go fast, but right at the end, I can literally turn left and go on a flat piece, or I can go right and go up a hill. And that moment is where I'm building self-discipline. I'm building that toughness in my mind, because I'm making myself choose the tougher option. It is going to be harder. There's no way around it. But at the end, I feel so much better, and I feel better about myself. I feel a sense of self-pride. I feel confident about myself because I took on that challenge. And also knowing that if I did have some form of physical challenge that I wanted to take on, and there was a curveball, and there is a moment where I thought I have nothing left in the tank, but I can fall back on some mental toughness. I can fall back on some mental self-discipline to know that I've already done it. I've already trained it, and I'm ready, and I've got that tool in my tool bag. So maybe there's a challenge that you can throw yourself on, something that you're currently doing that will allow you to even further your self-discipline. Maybe you're already disciplined and going out and doing your physical exercise, but can you throw a little bit of a curveball in there? Another one that I remember listening to was about these guys who were doing ice baths, and being in an ice bath, if you sat in it for 5 minutes, it's cold, but eventually your body, the water around you kind of warms, right? And you can feel the temperature of the water changing. So actually moving their body in the ice bath to like disturb the water to like not reheat themselves, but recold themselves, like to reduce that temperature again around them and just kind of shock them again. It was just a bit of a mental challenge. Another way of being like super disciplined in a disciplined practice already. So those are, I would say, methods that you could use if you currently are doing something that's disciplined, committed, and you're already on your way and going. But what if you're not disciplined? What if you haven't found that discipline for yourself? The first thing is follow some disciplined people. Get people in your mind that are disciplined, or get people in your surroundings, in your environment that you know are currently disciplined. For me, I have recently started listening to more motivational videos. So when I go out and running, I might put one of those on, and I want to hear words. I want to hear people talking about motivational things. What you consume, what you have around you will really feed that fuel and that fire to your self-discipline. So surround yourself with people that are disciplined in what they do already, and you will undoubtedly find that you'll start to be self-disciplined in more and more things. You're just consuming it over and over again. That message is just being reiterated over and over again. It's not necessarily going to hit you from day one, but eventually you might start to take those tougher challenges, those tougher roads, those tougher paths, because you're just hearing that message and it's starting to become you. So you don't have to necessarily organically create this from yourself. Go out and find it. You are the sum of all the people that you hang around with and you listen to. Another one is if you especially get up in the morning and you find yourself turning your phone on, and it's a bad habit, right? But it's a habit that's really hard to break. If you are going to do that, if you are going to stick your phone on, put something motivational on, put someone that you want to listen to, something that's going to get you going. If the first thing that you listen to in the day is motivational rather than demotivational, if you listen to the news, or if you put social media on and you start to hear these expectations of the world or the negative stories in the world, you're just going to start off on the wrong foot. So first thing, if you are going to listen to something or if you are going to go on your phone, make sure that you've already preset, I'm going to listen to this motivational video. Even if it's when I was a kid and growing up to become a professional athlete, I used to watch the same videos over and over again, just reiterating that story over and over again. And it, because it had an impact on me, because it was something that worked for me, I just kept listening to it. It's like listening to the same song over and over again until you're sick of it. But it was something that I enjoyed listening to. So I find what it is for you that would work, what it is that's going to motivate you, and just keep hammering at it. Just keep listening to it, keep going for it. Following that, create a system that is going to work for you. One of the things that you get from being non-disciplined is this sense of overwhelm, like I'm not good enough to do this, or I'm not ready enough and I don't know how to start, I don't know where to start. One thing that I've found really easy in my life, and I think this is just growing up as a professional athlete, the physical discipline, like going out and doing my physical work, I don't find that too difficult. That's something for me that having discipline in that area comes quite naturally, but I built that up from a young age, right? I'm now at a better stage with that. But an area for me that I really struggle with is my work, my sitting at a laptop, doing that work that's going to propel my business, propel my work, get out there and do these areas of my work that I've not necessarily got a huge armory or a huge plethora of experience in. It's stuff like that I find really tough to be disciplined in. But recently, and especially towards the back end of 2022, I created a system and started to literally write down a system and a routine. And I thought, how can I take areas that I'm already disciplined in, like my physical training? What allows me to be really disciplined in my physical training? And one thing was setting out a time of day, being routined, knowing exactly what I was going to be doing in that routine. Okay, I'm going to be lifting weights, and these are the weights that I'm going to be lifting. It's pretty strategic. It's pretty set out and planned. Okay, I'm going running. Okay, I'm going to run this far. I'm going to do this distance. And like I said, I'm going to throw this challenge in along the way. But it was like routined. It's a system. It was a really systemized routine and approach. And I have started to create that for my work. So I use a tool called Notion. If you don't know what Notion is, I recommend you go and use it. Especially if you're looking to like take notes or you're just trying to organize your life, Notion has become an absolute game changer for me. It's completely free as well. It blows my mind. And I use Notion and I create a weekly template for my week. And I have each time set out and what I'm trying to do within that week. So I have a moment in the day where I block out writing or social posts, because I put out a lot of social media content, right? So I put that out. I have a moment for creativity. I then have a moment for business development. And then I have a time slot for miscellaneous, which is anything that might run over and anything that might spill out of those previous slots. I put it into miscellaneous, and I do that every day. I also then allocate each day to what part of my business I might be working on. Now, is this perfect? No, it is not perfect. It's something that I'm constantly developing. But what it does do is it allows me the night before, if there's something that I want to achieve, I know when I'm going to achieve it. I know what I'm going to put into that slot in the day. So it's not perfect, but it has allowed me to be way more disciplined. Like, I'm getting up and I know exactly what I'm doing at what part of the day. I found myself not knowing what to do at certain parts of the day. And it's been really effective because it's already mapped out. All I have to do is fill in those spots. Has it got some flexibility? Yes, because there are moments where I might have a call or a meeting with someone that has to come up. I have been pretty disciplined in actually saying no to any meetings before 12 o'clock and making sure that my afternoons are when I do calls with my athletes, or if I go and see a client. Maybe there's a day I block out and do something and I might shift it over, but most of the time after 12 o'clock, after 1 o'clock is when you're able to kind of get me in a meeting setting, and I'm trying to be pretty disciplined in that. Again, the idea is that I've started something. I know by the end of this year, I'll have developed it and I'll have improved it, and I spend time on the weekend to look at reviewing it and planning it. So having that process, having that system is really, really impactful. So having that planning system and that reviewing system is something I recommend. I recently created some templates for athletes, and I've actually adjusted them for if you're not an athlete. And if you do follow my work, I regard everyone that listens to this as an athlete, whether you're in business, whether you're in sport, whether you're a musician, whether you're a student. If you're just trying to grow and get better, I would regard you as an athlete. Anyway, these templates, they are templates for being able to review your week, to plan your week, to review your month, to plan your month. And there's also some added human doing goals. So what do you want to be as a human being? What are the goals you have there? What are your goals as a human doing, the roles and responsibilities that you have? If you follow the Mindstrong course, you'll understand that. There's in the Mindstrong course, we have the human being, human doing exercise, which is a completely life-changing exercise. And those templates are just starters for that. They just allow you can print them off, you can follow them. And the way in which you can get them is by recommending the Game Plan newsletter. So if you don't receive the Game Plan newsletter already, just head over to lewishatchett.com/the-game-plan. Subscribe to the emails, and then you can recommend that through there's a portal literally at the bottom of each email, and you can recommend it. And you only have to recommend one email to get these templates. But if you really can't wait for them, drop me a message over on Instagram, drop me a message over on an email. So find me at my website, lewishatchett.com, and I'll send them over. So what, as a summary, would I recommend for being disciplined is to start by doing something where you set the bar properly low. And what I mean by that is when we want to be disciplined, we try to create an idea of being the finished article from day one. And so I want to be disciplined. I want to be super disciplined. I want to be having these habits every day. And if I don't achieve that, I'm going to be nothing but poor, or I'm going to be useless if I don't do that. And it's not reality. You are human. You are going to mess this up. You are going to get things wrong. But giving yourself leeway to do that at the beginning happens by setting your expectations lower. And I don't mean not aiming up. I don't mean by not aiming to be better, but just making sure your expectations are that you don't need to be perfect to begin with. So I've spoken about this in a previous masterclass in the Mindstrong community about if you are going to start habits, then creating a system where you don't necessarily set out to do it every day, but you just make sure you don't miss 2 days in a row. It could be making sure that the first thing that you do in order to start a disciplined life is just making your bed. And Jordan Peterson talks about this in Making Your Bed being, and I think it was the Army General William, I'm going to forget his name, but there's a famous speech by an army general that called Making Your Bed. And that literally is the catalyst for starting disciplined acts in your day. And it doesn't sound like much, but it's better than what you were yesterday. And that's the idea. All you have to do is be just a little bit better than you were yesterday. So do that by setting an expectation low. If it's starting a meditation practice, don't aim for 30 minutes. Just do 5. Just do 1. And just achieve something so that you can build upon it. And it's doing that, setting the smallest task that you can, something that's actionable. Start with one thing that you know that will help, that you definitely can do, that will get you towards this more disciplined life. So that's all I've got for you for this episode. Hopefully it's helped you out. As I mentioned, we have the Mindstrong community and the Mindstrong course that are available now for you to join. It's completely available and ready for you over at lewishatchett.com/Mindstrong. If you purchase the course, you get the community, but you can also join the community as itself, where I post basically anything that I recommend towards being a positive and inspiring and motivational influence in my life and in others' lives. There's videos, there's podcasts, there's books that we recommend, but then also the really cool thing is that I'm hosting monthly mindset masterclasses where I go live and host a monthly mindset masterclass on a certain topic. And each topic is a different mindset topic that I have chosen or has come up through my work with athletes, organizations, or people have asking me questions about. So head over to lewishatchett.com/mindstrong to find out more. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter as well, the game plan. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you're a new subscriber or an old subscriber, thank you again. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.